Hey, Truth Seekers. Rob and I are here today with Brady Coswell. He's working on a PhD in physics, and he's got some information on the Mandela Effect that we want to talk about with him and get to know a little bit more about Brady. So we welcome Brady to our show today.
Yeah, Brady, could you just tell us what you were saying a moment ago about how the past can be changed by the present?
Well, it isn't exactly that. It's more that events in the past can be caused by what we do in the present. It's kind of the reverse of cause and effect.
So the effect comes first and the cause comes after?
Sure. It's called retrocausality. You may also hear the terms delayed choice or quantum eraser thrown around.
Quantum eraser. That makes it sound like something in the past could be erased or maybe changed so that it happens differently than it did originally?
That's an unfortunate misunderstanding. What it actually means is that all other probabilities have been erased.
This is where I get lost.
You're talking about the collapse of a waveform, right?
Exactly. So think about it like this. Let's say, for example, you're in a gymnasium, right? And there's a basketball court, but you're facing away into the stands. And someone throws a ball onto the court. Now, you don't know where it is. It could be anywhere. But once you turn around, you've now pinpointed its location in time and space.
I get that, but how does that apply to
retrocausality? Well, in the case of the basketball, it doesn't, because the basketball is in the Newtonian world. But let's say that basketball was a quantum particle, like a quark or a photon or an electron. Then that particle would exist in a superposition of all possible conditions.
So its time and space is not fixed.
Exactly. It's actually in a superposition of what we call eigenstates. But once the observation is made, all other probabilities collapse and only one is left. Its position is not only observed by us, but is caused by our observation of it.
And this is real? Like there's an actual science behind it?
Absolutely. The most famous example is the double slit experiment, and there have been several versions of that experiment going all the way back to 1801 with Thomas Young. This was well before quantum mechanics was even considered a science. And since then, there have been several other versions of the experiment designed to prove that this phenomenon occurs across time. So yes, we can cause a waveform to collapse in the past based on what we do in the present.
So, for our purposes, what about changing something that's already occurred?
Well, it's important to understand that this type of retrocausality is only believed to exist in the quantum level. There's no evidence to show that it happens in the Newtonian world. But to answer your question more directly, there's no evidence to show that we can change a waveform after it has collapsed.
And you're saying there's no evidence? Like it might be just possible, but we don't know it yet?
Well, the evidence would say that it is impossible to change the past. However, remember that what we know about quantum mechanics is just a grain of sand. And what we don't know is a seashore.
So it's possible.
Personally, I'm not sure. I mean, the scientist in me wants to keep an open mind and just look at the evidence. Just keep exploring and see where we arrive. Hence my current research.
And what is that exactly?
Well, it's twofold. The first part is to find out if we can, as Rob asked, change something in the past after the waveform has collapsed. The second part is there any way that changes in the quantum level can affect the Newtonian world.
And if both of those are possible, you want to know if we can intentionally change history?
If you will. If you let the imagination soar, then yes, it would inevitably lead to that.
We're really in the same business here.
I mean, we're trying to see if there's anything to this other than just mass false memories. Like, we're looking for evidence to see if there is any evidence that history is actually changing.
Well, then maybe we should work together.
You want to get a beer, talk it over?
I thought you'd never ask.
Okay, we're going to go get a beer now, but we'll follow up with you on where we are with everything pretty soon.
Oh, hey, but before we go, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date with what we find out.